again. Thank you for joining us tonight for our senior parent and guardian information meeting for the fall of the 2020-2021 school year. I hope that many of you, even though I can't see you, are somewhere sitting outside in this beautiful weather that doesn't feel like the middle of September. I do appreciate all of you coming out to join us tonight. We are going to we are going to be sharing some information that's important for the start of the beginning of the school year, and also some information about seniors and what they'll be experiencing this year too, although we don't have a lot of details about that. Mr. Levine, could you go to the next slide, please? So I do want to share a little bit about this meeting with you. And if you've been through one of my other parent meetings recently, you know, I just want to share that this is a Zoom webinar. That functionality allows us to have really large groups, but it is limited in that we don't have the opportunity to see people who are engaging with us in this, and we don't have the opportunity to ask live questions. So it is much more of just an informational question on our end, but we will make sure that you know who to contact with any questions that you have and how to get additional information. And I'm going to be working with the PTSA and Ms. Winik, who you'll hear from later, to try to think of some ways that we can have some interactive sessions that aren't limited by the number of participants. So we will end this session though tonight no later than 8. There'll be 4 of us who you'll actually hear from tonight. And we will be recording this session and posting it online for other parents to view. So we can do the next slide, Mr. Levine. Thank you. So my name is Shelton Mooney, and I am the principal at BCC High School. I know I've met many of you, but I haven't met all of you. So I am very excited to be with you all and your children this year as we're moving towards graduation. I can tell you one of the things that I was trying to think about as I was thinking about what I would say to you tonight is that my second oldest child is also a senior in high school right now. And I can tell you that there are a lot of different mixed emotions as she and I talk about the things that are going on, the things that she was really looking forward to about her senior year that she's already missed out on. But also the things that, you know, she is still holding on to. So I can definitely empathize with you in terms of what your children are going through and what you're going through with that. It will be different. It will be unlike anything that any of us experienced in all likelihood as seniors in high school. But we are going to do everything we can to make sure that it is a meaningful and memorable experience this year for your children. So tonight we'll share some of that information that we already know, but I do want you to also be assured that we are working on ways and looking at things we can do to provide some unique experiences for students as we move through the rest of the school year. And my sincere hope is that as we get into the second semester, that we will be able to have students back into the building and that we will be in some return to what was our normal prior to March 13th of this year. Mr. Levine, can we go to the next slide? So tonight you're going to hear from me, which you just did. You are going to hear from Ms. Lyric Winik, who is the PTSA president. You're also going to hear from Mr. Matt Gandal, who is the president of the BCC Educational Foundation. And then you're going to hear from Mr. Levine, who is an assistant principal at BCC and is also the 12th grade administrator. So, and the topics we're going to talk about today, after you hear from both the PTSA and the Educational Foundation, Mr. Levine is going to take you through some important information, just information that you probably are already familiar with as we're 2.5 weeks into the school year, but really looking at what a week looks like, what we're expecting for student engagement. He's going to share some information about special education in 504, share some information about what we've done already with technology and materials and what we have upcoming. He's going to provide some information also about specific senior events. and also talk about college tracks and the class of 2021 SGA. And at the very end, we'll spend a little bit of time talking about athletics, which are virtual for the fall and which just kicked off yesterday. So we're going to do that. So at this time, I'm going to ask Miss Winik to unmute herself, and she's going to share with you information about the BCC High School PTSA.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mooney. I'm also here as the parent of a senior. I'm a senior and a sophomore, so I'm here to listen as well. And I will be relatively quick because I'm hoping that you all are somewhat familiar with the PTSA by now, but welcome. We are doing things a little bit differently this year. I want to highlight one thing to start, that we are going to be hosting a virtual coffee on the 25th of September for families at 8 in the morning for senior parents and guardians. And you are welcome to come with questions. There will be a college presentation that's happening either the 23rd or 24th. So we thought the 25th would be good if you have new questions or whatever. However, you can reach out to me at any time. My email is available on the PTSA webpage and usually in the listserv. So who are we? Well, you should know by now all the different things that we support, or I hope you do, from academic grants to BCC Cares. The thing that really, really matters for you is the College Advisory Committee this year. The committee has done an unbelievable job of pulling in resources in the virtual world. So this month they offered free essay help for seniors. They also did that over the summer, college essay help. They are in early October, you'll be getting the announcements about their programming for how to fill out the FAFSA, the financial aid form that you're going to need. They have just a wealth of information. I would read carefully through all their posts on the listserv because it's invaluable. We also will be doing a lot with our peer parents to support and offer assistance and communication for families. And of course, we also have diversity parents, our Diversity Parents Council, and Health and Wellness. But one thing I really want to stress, if you haven't done, or you have friends who have not yet done it in your time at BCC, please, please join the listserv. With everything virtual this year, that is where to go for information. We post updates almost daily about different important things. You can join by going to our website, bccptsa.net. It's a place to ask questions. Again, it's where the College Advisory Committee posts. The College and Career Counselor, Ms. Mattis, posts there as well. We get a lot of information that is vital to you and to your student. And I would also really encourage you to make sure that you have an active Naviance account, because that is going to be vital this year. I'm sure they're going to talk to you about that, but I just want to reiterate that myself. And again, we are here to support you, your students, and your family in this time. I know that it is difficult, and I know that it's challenging, and I know that there are definitely mixed emotions and sadness at some of the things that have been lost, but we hope that we can build a very strong community, even if it is virtual. I also want to point out that the PTSA has a very new and different, and I think incredible relationship this year with the student government at school, that we are communicating almost on a daily basis, sharing information, sharing each other's posts. And we are also working on ways together as parents and students to try to create some great experiences for your kids. And the other part of it is that we have a committee of parents who are working together to try to make sure that we can have some really good events and think out of the box. And whether that's going to be another parade at the end of the year or something like that, I promise you that we will make some special memories for you and your kids, and we have not forgotten about that. So I just want to say in closing, please reach out. Please know that we are here for you and that we are, we want to do everything we can this year. Everybody is welcome. We are multilingual and, we understand what you're going through because we're parents as well. And whatever you need, please just ask and watch for those college advisory committee posts because they are exceptional and will be invaluable to you and your student in navigating this fall. So thank you so much, Dr. Mooney, for this opportunity. And thank you also to all the teachers and staff at BCC who have tried so hard to stand up virtual school this fall and make it a good experience for everyone. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Winik, and we definitely appreciate all the support that the PTSA and the parents have provided for us always, but especially as we've made this transition and started the school year. So at this time, we're going to hear from Mr. Matt Gandal, who is the president of the BCC Educational Foundation. Mr. Gandal.
Thank you, Dr. Mooney. Good evening, everyone. Just a quick introduction. I probably know many people. I've had my two older sons have graduated from BCC in the recent past, and my daughter is a junior this year. And I myself, a while back, was a BCC alum, or am a BCC alum. So I have a lot of connections and experience with BCC, but I have to admit, I don't think there's ever quite been a year like the one we're entering into. And I think that goes without saying, but I also want to thank Dr. Mooney, Mr. Levine, and the whole team at the school for really rolling up their sleeves and getting ready for this school year, learning from the what did or didn't go well in the spring, gearing up in the summer, and trying to make this the best possible experience for our students. It'll be difficult, but I know the students will persevere if we provide the supportive environment that they're going to need. And that brings me to what the foundation does. I think for most of you, you're familiar because you've been at the school for a number of years, but since not all high schools have foundations, it's always good to remind everyone that we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization that raises money for extra programs and supports at the school that the county doesn't provide. And just an important note, we had our 25th birthday in August. So it was 25 years ago that we were created by a group of parents in the community and community leaders and educators who wanted to make sure that there was a sustainable force to resource the school and to work with the county leadership to make sure that BCC remained a top tier high school, regardless of who was in the various administrative positions. We've had a great relationship with Dr. Mooney and his team, and we're ready to roll up our sleeves together to make this year as successful as possible. Just the kinds of things we're funding with particular eye toward this year, which is different. We do a lot of programming in the summer that we provide resources for. It's probably where the majority of our money goes. Programs including college essay writing workshop that perhaps some of your students participated in, and many programs designed to get students a step ahead as they enter into the fall and be able to take advanced courses, or even for students coming out of the middle schools being better prepared to enter 9th grade. There's a whole series of programs that are funded by the foundation in the summers. We also have, we fund TAP, which you're probably familiar with, and I just want to emphasize its importance this year. It's after school academic support that in normal years is taught live in person by BCC teachers. And any student can show up across the core subjects most days of the week to get support, whether it's ongoing deep support or just short-term support to prepare for an important exam. It's totally funded by the foundation, and it's been an incredible resource for the students. This year, I know Dr. Mooney and his team are working really hard as we speak to make this available in a virtual setting. And in the next couple of weeks, it will be rolled out and accessible to your students and all students. And I really encourage you to keep your eyes on the listserv that Lyric mentioned earlier. We'll be sending out additional information. I know Dr. Mooney and the team will as well, particularly now with the challenges of online instruction and learning and engagement. We think it's going to be important that students have the ability to have one-on-one support and small group support whenever they need it in their core classes. And then lastly, we provide funding for professional development and training for the teachers. So there's a fund that Dr. Mooney can draw on for teacher training and upskilling. And we think it's a pretty important year for him to have access to resources to help teachers improve their craft in virtual learning. We know there's a really important emphasis this year, and we support it fully in addressing the systemic racism that our students have so thoughtfully brought to the fore starting this summer. And we're really encouraged that there's interest in looking at teacher training and resources for the faculty and the teachers at the school to more constructively engage with the students around those issues. This year is going to be a different year, so we have put aside money for innovative ideas that might come up from the teachers or the community, and we're looking for those ideas to support students in this difficult environment. We are going to resource new programs if they come up. We're going to provide supports for virtual learning, and we're very serious about honoring the diversity that makes this school so special. So programs that help support students from different backgrounds who want to put efforts in place to honor diversity and deal with some of the issues I mentioned earlier that have been coming to the fore. We are all in as a foundation on that, and have just launched a special committee on advancing equity so we can support efforts like this. Before I close, I just want to point to the screen here. If you aren't on our mailing list, please send us an email at the email address at the top of the screen with your name and your student's name and grade. We send out periodic information about programs like TAP and other programs that we support, like college tracks, which I know Mr. Levine will talk about shortly. That's a really, really important resource this year for families whose students may need extra help on the college application financial aid process. It's a very, very effective program at BCC that can help your students. The foundation invests a significant amount of money each year to make that available. So we hope you'll take advantage of that. If you give us your email address, we'll keep you informed of those programs. We're also planning several webinars later in September and early October about TAP, so your students will know how to access it and you'll understand it as well, and also about college tracks and the other college preparatory programs that are available to you. I do want to mention, Lyric mentioned the College Advisory Committee, the PTSA. They are doing phenomenal work this year, going above and beyond to find resources to bring to BCC for parents and students to adapt to the COVID environment. And I really want to encourage you to pay attention and get involved in those activities. I think it's going to be a rich set of resources that otherwise won't be available to most families. So with that, I will turn it back over to Dr. Mooney, and I really appreciate everyone's time and hope you have a successful year with your students.
Thank you, Mr. Gandal. I appreciate that. And also want to say that I really appreciate the work, and on behalf of the staff, really do honor and the support that the foundation has provided over the years, and especially this year as we continue to look for ways to make this a meaningful year and ensure that we are not falling any further behind than we might have already. So at this time, we are actually going to transition, and Mr. Levine is going to begin sharing some information for the fall, and we'll also transition into sharing information about senior year experiences. So Mr. Levine, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mooney, and thank you again to Mr. Gandal and Ms. Winik for kicking us off this evening. As Dr. Mooney mentioned, my name is Sam Levine. I am one of the assistant principals at BCC, and I am the 12th grade administrator this year, and I'm very excited to work with you and your students this year. My email address is on the screen here, and Samuel_G_Levine@mcpsmd.org. Please feel free to reach out at any time, and I will do everything I can to support you and assist. And if I can help direct you or connect you to anybody else, I would be happy to do so. This is my 5th year at BCC. For the past 4 years, I was the class of 2020 administrator. So I joined those students during at the beginning of their 9th grade year and followed them through their high school experience. And again, I'm very excited to work with your students this year. Prior to my time at BCC, I was a health and PE teacher at Westland Middle School. And so I happen to know some of the current seniors from my time at Westland as a teacher. And so I look forward to continuing to work with the students who I've already worked with, and I look forward to meeting all new students or students who I have yet had the opportunity to work with. And just to get us started, just to frame really what our goals are for the first semester in this virtual experience that we are a few weeks into. MCPS's recovery plan is titled Reimagine, Reopen, and Recover. And you can actually access a web page on the MCPS website that further breaks down the recovery plan. But the guiding principles, really the core pieces of the plan, are to first and foremost ensure the safety and wellness of our students, to provide a robust and dynamic virtual learning experience for the first semester, having a continuous lens of equity, ensuring that all means all, optimizing the use of resources, and the community and stakeholder engagement in the plan development. And so that takes us to grading and reporting. So to foster a robust instructional program, students will engage in live and high quality learning experiences. So we are very excited that students will have live instruction and have already started that this school year. We will be returning to a traditional letter grade system for both quarter and semester grades. So that will continue as it traditionally would for this current quarter and this semester. Teachers will be utilizing classroom, external, and district assessments for students. So depending on the classes that your students are enrolled in, they may engage in a variety of assessments throughout this virtual experience. So the expectations for grading categories, those will be returning to what they traditionally have been in March 2020. But again, the letter grade system will continue as is. You can expect that your students will receive one graded assignment per week in their courses at least. And that, of course, can vary class to class. Electives may function differently from core academic classes, but that's largely what we're looking for. Students may be expected to complete asynchronous learning experiences on days where they're not meeting as a live class, and students may expect to spend up to 30 to 45 minutes per day of independent work. So we're really looking to have that robust experience where it's a combination of live instruction throughout the week and also independent learning opportunities to continue their work with the content. And we'll talk specifically about the weekly schedule shortly. So to really break down the weekly schedule for us, just to clarify a few points, all high schools in MCPS must follow the same schedule. Schools will follow an 8-period schedule. Classes will meet for live instruction for 60 minutes twice a week. And the schedule includes Barren time, which I will speak to on the next slide. But again, I know we're into week 3 right now, so I'm hopeful that students are comfortable with the current schedule. But we do have the A-Day, B-Day rotation with periods 1 through 4 and on one day and periods 5 through 8 on the next. At BCC, we only have a 7-period day traditionally. So we have been able to coordinate some additional opportunities for students on that 8th period, and I'll be speaking to that on the next slide. Every day there is a lunch break, lunch and wellness break scheduled into the day, and we also have opportunities for students to access teachers for additional support, and again that's built into the day, and I'll provide some additional clarity on the next slide. But just to clarify, the school day does begin at 9 o'clock each day. And the school day does, depending on, the next slide I'll talk about, the 2:45 to 3:15 time is when we would have opportunities for students to engage in additional opportunities. And I'll share that information now. So Barren time, to clarify, on A days, Barren time provides it's an opportunity for students to access their teachers for academic support. So this really looks a lot like what lunchtime would typically look like in a traditional setting, where teachers are available, staff are available, and students can just drop into their Zooms and request additional support. And it's an open opportunity. Students can drop into as many classes during that window as they would like to. On B days, we will actually be facilitating structured activities for students during that barren time period, such as link crew activities, which is a freshman orientation program. We may have a focus on IB middle years program work, such as middle years projects for 10th graders. Club meetings, we'll be able to meet then, social emotional learning lessons, or other identified needs as necessary. So we're fortunate that we have this block of time where we're able to incorporate important critical items that come up as we progress, and other ones that we're already aware of. So just to double back to that, to clarify, on the A days, you can see on the screen here, it says Barron's accessing teachers, and that's that drop-in opportunity. And then on the B days, it says that's when the students will return to a specific class period, and that's where they would engage in those lesson opportunities, where they're structured opportunities. So there's two components to the Barren time. One's a Barron's accessing teachers, and one's Barren time where they're structured opportunities. Just to give you some insight, I'm sure you've seen some glimpses of what the Zoom lessons are looking like during this semester. But, generally, the Zoom lesson starts off with a welcome and a warm-up. There's usually a framing of the lesson, direct instruction, and then an opportunity for practicing the content. And so that often looks like, often utilizes breakout groups in Zoom. And so the teachers are able to drop into each of the breakout groups, help check for understanding, provide supports, but it allows students to have small group opportunities to engage in the curriculum. So it really is structured very similarly to what a typical lesson would look like in a traditional setting. And fortunately, we're able to be creative with some of the technology platforms that we have access to. Student engagement is critical and very important. Just to highlight a few pieces, the big idea here is that, we all recognize that distance learning in the spring was not ideal and was a response to the global health emergency. And so our goal is to move forward with a growth mindset characterized by high expectations for teaching and learning. It is essential that students are engaged in learning on a regular and ongoing basis. If a child does not fully engage in virtual learning, it is all but assured that he or she will not learn. Daily attendance will be taken in all classes throughout the first semester. To speak about special education services, or 504 plans. So students will continue to have their services documented in an individual distance learning plan. And the plan will align with each student's IEP and describe the delivery of special education services in this current distance format. Students with IEPs in 504 plans should expect to receive core instruction according to the standards of the curriculum, a written individual distance learning plan, and this information will be shared with teachers to support accommodations in the classroom. Counselors and case managers will continue to hold screening and annual reviews for 504 plans virtually until we return to school. And students with IEPs will receive support with learning from special education teachers and paraeducators in a variety of ways. And that may be intervention support in both small group and one-on-one settings, or through related services such as speech, physical, and occupational therapies. If your child receives services, and if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I can certainly help get you connected. But case managers and counselors will continue to support students and families, and so please don't hesitate to reach out now that we're a few weeks into the year. If you have any questions on any of the accommodations or the individual distance learning plan, please do not hesitate to reach out, and we will make sure that you have access to all of the information that you need. Technology and material distribution. I just want to take a moment to highlight a couple pieces here. Plans are currently being determined for additional material distribution opportunities to be scheduled later this month, later in September. More details to follow in a community message once the details are finalized. I do want to highlight that staff are aware that we are currently developing these plans, and the staff are making arrangements for students to have access to content in the meantime. So I know that at this point of the year, some students may have received a schedule change, which now, even if they received their materials a couple weeks back, they may now be in need to pick up some additional materials, or if students or parents were unable to make that initial pickup in August, that's totally fine. Staff are aware that there may be some students who are awaiting this next opportunity, and again, they will be sure to make arrangements for students. But if you have any questions or concerns, again, please feel free to reach out to the teachers, the counselor, or myself, and I would be happy to help you. In terms of technology, it's important that every student has access to technology at this time. So please email your administrator or your student's counselor with any technology requests, and we can help coordinate an opportunity to pick up those items, specifically Chromebooks, at this time. And the MCPS technical support number is still active, and that's 240-740-7022. And they have been just a huge help during this virtual experience. So please continue to reach out to them if you have any technical support needs. And if you have any questions on that process, or again, any difficulties reaching someone, please feel free to reach out to me, and I can help with that as well. The 12th grade counselor assignments, this is listed on the BCC website, and but I did want to just reference it this evening. So I do want to highlight that for any students who may be on Mr. Gordon's caseload, we are expecting a long-term substitute to be joining us shortly in the very near future, and as soon as that is all finalized and our long-term substitutes in place, we will communicate with students and families on their caseload. In the meantime, if you have any counseling requests, please feel free to reach out to Marisol Perez, and she is the counseling secretary, and her email address is on the BCC website. And you can also call BCC's main office, and they will connect you to her, and she will make sure that someone from counseling gets right back to you to support in the meantime. But we do hope to have the long-term substitute in place here very soon. Just some senior specific updates. The prom is currently scheduled for Saturday, May 8th. The after prom details are to be determined, but more information to follow down the road. Very important announcement here for cap gown ordering. A link will be sent to students and families soon And that link will actually be essentially an ordering link where you'll indicate the important information for the cap gown orders, so we can get that information into the company with enough notice so they can prepare everything. So we will actually begin collecting that information at the beginning of the school year. So some information will come out to you soon, and it will be a link so you can indicate sizing information, and so you can complete that. But additional information will accompany the link, just discussing payment information and timelines for ordering. And again, although we're at the beginning of the year, we will be putting that out to the community soon once we receive kind of the final details from the company. Homecoming details are to be determined, but we do have a primary goal of making the event memorable for all students. So now that we are into the fall, I do want to just highlight that is being discussed, and that more details to follow there. Counselors will be visiting English classes in the very near future to present on the college application process. And so your senior students will be receiving some important information here very soon. And actually those lessons are being scheduled as we speak. And so students will have an opportunity to receive some information from counseling, but to be able to ask questions as well. So that's a great opportunity coming up. And lastly, senior portraits. I know that we were awaiting some information here. And so senior portraits will take place at BCC High School in the cafeteria. More details to follow in terms of, there will be a link also coming out that will allow for students and families to set up an appointment within our dates and times that are being offered. And there will be additional information in terms of what to bring with you for students to bring with them to the appointment, and specific information about current practices and protocols for those pictures. So more information to follow there, but I did want to highlight the dates: October 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And again, more information will come to you through a community message in addition to the cap gown ordering information as well. College tracks. I know Mr. Gandal mentioned college tracks earlier, and I do want to take a moment to highlight the work they do. It is, we are very fortunate to have access to the college tracks team. College tracks is a group of professional staff and trained volunteers who help BCC students navigate the complex admissions process, including essays, applications, standardized test preparation, FAFSA completion, and ultimately the selection of a college. College Tracks is open to students who need extra help navigating the college application and financial aid process. College Tracks traditionally is, their office is connected to the counseling office, but in this virtual setting, they remain available through virtual platforms. And so Patty is our program director, and Rahel is our program coordinator. And their virtual hours are every weekday except for Wednesdays. And they are available between 11:15 and 12:30 p.m. each of those days. Their contact information is in this presentation for you. And if you have any questions about the process or about any other resources that may be available to you, they are a tremendous resource, and they can make themselves available for virtual appointments, for phone calls, to be able to talk through any questions that you may have or that your students may have. So I want to just thank them in advance for all of their work throughout this year, and I do want to recommend that you reach out to them if you have any questions, and they would be happy to support. Just as we get into our last couple of slides this evening, the SGA, the class of 2021 SGA, has some information for us. Students should check their mcpsmd.net email accounts frequently for SGA email updates. They can follow the class of 2021 SGA on Instagram, which is at BCCSGA21. Bear and Blast Remind Group. Students can text at Barons 2021 to 81010 to join. Google Classroom, students can join using the code, which is WVRGZJI. And again, that's embedded in the slideshow here for you to access. And lastly, Miss Jennifer Lloyd, she is one of our English and dance teachers, and she is also the senior class sponsor. And you can also email her at any time. Her email address is listed on the BCC website, but also on this presentation here. And you can certainly reach out to her directly if you have any questions, and she can help answer anything for you or help you get you connected to who you may need to seek information from. So we have a very active SGA, and even in the virtual setting, I know that they hope to make this a special year and a memorable year for the seniors. And so they will be very hard at work this year, and we look forward to hearing more from them. But I recommend, if your students are not already connected through these various platforms, I recommend that they connect just so they can receive the regular updates. And our last piece here this evening is just about athletics. I know Dr. Mooney mentioned that the fall season is underway. So the fall season will consist of 3 virtual seasons, and there will not be any cuts from teams. So all students who, there will not be a tryout process. So any student who is interested in having the opportunity to participate, they are absolutely welcome to, and we're really encouraging that all students get involved this fall. And so athletics is a tremendous opportunity where students can select a sport or a team of interest and join. Physicals are required, so current physicals must be involved, must be on file. Each week, coaches will focus on one of our RAISE core values, and these include respect and sportsmanship, academic excellence, integrity and character, spirited and safe competition, as well as equity and access. So again, we are really encouraging students to be very involved this year, even in the virtual setting. We want to make sure that students are staying connected and having those social opportunities that we know are so important. And so athletics is a tremendous way to participate throughout the first semester. And that is actually, and I will say Mike Crozel is our athletics specialist. And again, his email address is on the BCC website. But Mike is an excellent resource and can help navigate any questions around physicals, can help navigate the registration process for any of these virtual seasons, and can really be, answer any of the questions that you may have about that process. So please don't hesitate to reach out to Mr. Mike Crozel if you have any questions. And that actually takes us to our final slide. I do want to say thank you very, very much for joining us this evening. We hope that you and your students have a tremendous start to the year. Please do not hesitate to reach out if I can support in any way. And for some of those important items that we referenced, such as cap gown, such as prom after prom, or senior portraits, there will be some additional information to follow just as soon as we receive the final information from the various companies that we're working with. And so more information to follow through a community message in the near future. Thank you so much, and have a great evening.